Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to In the Garden with Joyful Living. I am Kimberly Dixon. Guys, it's so good to be on again. I haven't been on in the last couple of weeks because we have had rain, and I'm not talking about drizzle. I'm talking about all day just rain pouring down for week. Well, not weeks and every day, but on the weekend. So every time I'd have something planned to do, it would be raining so hard or it would be so clouded that just didn't work out. But I'm here this morning. So while we wait for a few people to join us, let me show you what's been going on in the garden. It's been getting down, guys. Take a look at this. So do you guys remember the tomato plants that I showed you weeks and weeks ago? Well, this is what they look like now. So this is the yellow pear tomato. It's good for people who have acid reflux. Yellow and orange tomatoes don't have as much acid in them. So if you have acid reflux, yellow and orange tomatoes are better for you than the red ones. This one is a slicing tomato. They are just getting completely unruly. My spearmint is doing wonderful. If you like watermelon, put some spearmint in it. It's absolutely delicious. This is some of my lettuce. I'm about to pull up this sweet pea because it has what looks like powdery mildew on it, and I don't want it to infect my other plants, so I'm about to pull that up. This is a orange striped tomato, my Jasper cherry tomato, and I'm sorry if my shadow is blocking, but you see those tomatoes there and more there. We're about to have lots and lots of tomatoes. See those little baby tomatoes there? Then we have, this is the one that I'm the most excited about. It is the indigo cherry tomato, which is a black variety. You see those tomatoes there? And lots of flowers. My Boston pickling cucumber is doing wonderful. Good morning. Then the muncher cucumber is coming right along behind it. And I did this intentionally so that I would have a continuous crop of things. That is the Boston pickling and the muncher. So by the time this plant slows down, this one will be ready to go. This is my pride and joy. This is the Japanese eggplant that I overwintered. It was the only thing that survived. But when I tell you she is ready, she's ready. So she had a lot of different shoots coming up of here with part of the eggplant, but I wanted to put its energy into producing fruit and not all of those leaves. So I cut off all of those shoots. I think it was like 4 different shoots that I cut off. Potatoes. How many of you knew what a potato looked like growing? Hey, Jay, is that you? That looks like you, Jay. And that it actually has flowers on it. And what I just learned the other night was that the flowers actually close at nighttime. So I did have 2 sitting here, but it became completely unruly, so I had to move one. And I don't know if my ginger's going to come up because it's been so wet. It may have killed it. Just some flowers to attract pollinators. More flowers to attract pollinators. These are morning glories. They open up in the morning time, which is when bees are most active. So that's all in the plan to get more bees to come visit this area. So what I wanted to show you today, do you remember back in, I think it was February, I showed you trays of seeds for corn? Well, this is that corn. I have now transplanted it in the ground. It's been weeks ago, but again, the weather has been such that I haven't been able to get out here. This plot here is called Three Sisters. It is a Native American technique that has been used for as long as Native Americans have been in existence. But it's a technique that they use, and I always want to make sure that I give credit to where the idea or where the planting technique came from, because I see lots of people do videos on the Three Sisters and never mention that it's a Native American technique. This comes straight from Native Americans. But the whole idea of the Three Sisters are to put crops together that benefit each other. And the way that they do that is the three sisters consist of corn, some type of climbing bean, not bush beans, climbing beans, and then some type of squash. So here we have corn, we've got Blue Lake green beans blowing, and we've got zucchini. All of those are zucchini. And what happens is the corn provides a natural trellis for the beans to climb. The beans have the ability to pull nitrogen out of the air and put it in the soil, so it feeds the corn and the zucchini. The zucchini or the squash, any type of variety of squash, has huge leaves, so it shades the ground. Corn is heavy feeders, and they require a lot of water. The big leaves from the zucchini keeps the ground from drying out so quickly, so your corn has what it needs to produce those big ears of juicy corn. And then sometimes a fourth sister is added to the mix. It can be amethyst or sunflowers or some other type of flower that you plant within everything, so that when insects come to attack your corn, they'll be lured away by the scent of the flower. So the insects will be more drawn to the flower than they are to your vegetable. So again, all the sisters work together in a way that's mutually beneficial. They all get something out of this relationship together. The beans feed the corn and the zucchini. The zucchini shades the ground. The corn provides stalks for the beans to climb. So this is the perfect example of a mutually beneficial relationship. So again, we do these in the Gardens with Joyful Living so that we can illustrate the things in nature and how it applies to things in life. And also within this, I've got green onions, basil, thyme, all of these herbs that are going to deter deer and anything that would want to munch on my corn and my zucchini. But again, as I said, the whole purpose of In the Garden with Joyful Living is to not only share gardening techniques and tips, but to also be able to show you how nature mimics life. So in that, we're going to spend just a couple minutes talking about mutually beneficial and what that actually means. So the plants, they have a relationship where it's a give and a take. Something is being given, something is being taken, but it's true of every vegetable that's planted in the plot. It's a give and take. So in life, we should have relationships that are mutually beneficial, meaning that I'm giving you something, but you're giving me something back in return. It may not be the same thing. It's not going to be the same thing. It shouldn't be the same thing. The beans give the corn nitrogen. The corn gives the beans a stalk to climb. So if I'm fertilizing you, you need to be doing something to hold me up when I need to be held up. Good morning, Carla. Oh, I'm so sorry about your gentle giant. I saw the picture the other day. Beautiful, beautiful dog. But thank you for getting on this morning. Our relationships, they should be a give and take. That's true of every relationship, whether it's relationships with your coworkers. You should be able to depend on them to help you in areas that you're weak in, and you help them in areas that they are weak in. With your spouse, your duties in the home, your duties outside of the home, it's a give and take. We should be sharing the responsibilities for taking care of this family. It shouldn't fall on the wife entirely. It shouldn't fall on the husband entirely. It should be a mutually beneficial relationship. That's the same for your friends. You should be giving something to me. I should be giving something to you. We should both benefit from this relationship. It shouldn't be a burden to one person or the other, because all you're doing is taking. All you're doing is taking. Mutually beneficial relationships mean that I give you something and you give me something. So in my 20s, I learned something about, y'all know I like to do experiments. I do experiments in the garden. I do experiments in real life. But I had friends that at one point I realized, hey, I always send you a Christmas card. This is back when we used to actually send cards. I send you a Christmas card. I send you birthday cards, but I never receive a birthday card. I never get a Christmas card. When I see you and your family, it's because I contacted you to come visit you guys, but I never saw them until they actually wanted something. So again, it was me giving something to them. So I decided I was going to do an experiment. I wanted to see how good this relationship really was and how long it would last if I stopped reaching out to them. I stopped reaching out to them. The next time I heard from them, it was literally 20 years later on Facebook. Wasn't angry about it. Didn't have any kind of feelings, one way or the other towards them. Life happens. But I realized that friendship, it wasn't a relationship. A relationship requires that there are two people involved in it. If both people are not active participants, that is not mutually beneficial. Doesn't mean that you're going to give the same thing. Matter of fact, you're probably not going to be given the same thing, but something should be given and something should be taken. So I want all of us to be more cognizant of that, because a lot of the reasons we are so burned out and so tired in our lives is because of the relationships we have and the dynamics in which they operate. Don't allow your relationships to be one-sided. It's not a relationship if you're the one doing all the work. Both people should benefit from that relationship. Both people should gain from that relationship. Both people should be able to depend on that relationship for something. It may not be the same thing. Excuse me. Excuse me. It may not be the same thing, but we should be able to depend on it for something. Good morning, Keisha. Miss being on the team with you. But mutually beneficial relationships are a give and take, just the way those three sisters with the corn, the zucchini, and the beans, they benefit each other. They nurture each other. They support each other. They shade each other. What would happen if everybody in your life, they were either shading you, they were supporting you, they were feeding you? Good morning, Carl. They were giving you something. So I bring you these segments from In the Garden with Joyful Living to show you how much nature mimics life. These plants, they have a mutually beneficial relationship. There are certain things that you plant together and they will produce more, but there are also things that you never put together because they will literally drain you. They will literally suck the life out of you. That's like most of the time, in my containers, I will do 2 or 3 of some plants that benefit each other. But I don't do corn in other containers. I don't do sunflowers in other containers because they are heavy feeders, which means they take up a lot of nutrients. And guess what happens if you put them in a container with another plant? They take all the nutrients. Is there somebody in your life that's taking all the nutrients? They're in your environment. They're in the container with you, but they are literally sucking up all the nutrients. Relationships are designed to be mutually beneficial. We should be helping each other along the way, not draining each other, not depleting each other, not absorbing all the light. So I just want you to take in those words and start examining the relationships in your life. Start examining the environment of those relationships. Are there things in your environment that's sucking up all the life, that's sucking up all the nutrients? May not mean that it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. They just need another container, which means they can't be planted where you're planted. Can you let that sink in? They can't be planted where you're planted because in the same container, they're taking up all the nutrients. So guys, thank you for watching this segment of In the Garden with Joyful Living. And again, I apologize. It's been weeks since I've been on, but the weather has been such that it just wouldn't allow it. But as you can see, these little baby plants that you saw months ago, you saw the corn that was growing in the containers back in February, is now transplanted in the ground, and it's providing support to the beans. The beans are giving nutrients to the corn and the zucchini is shading the ground. Start looking for mutually beneficial relationships in your life and watch how things change for you. We got to be able to help each other along the way. We got to be able to support each other. We got to be able to depend on each other and be able to get different things from different people. Everything is not everybody's strong suit. I know that there's some things that my family come to me for, but the other things they know not to come to me. I'm not I don't plan trips. But if we're planning a trip, guess who we know to go to? My best friend Keisha, because she's the planner. She's going to do the trips and they're going to be top notch. That's not my area of expertise. You don't want me to plan a trip because nobody's going to meet us at the airport. But guys, look for those relationships where it's a give and a take. Again, thank you for watching In the Garden of Joyful Living. Good morning, Laura. It's good to see you, baby. I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for watching this segment of In the Garden with Joyful Living. I want to encourage everybody, go back and watch the entire video. Go back and share this because there's some people in your life that need to see this. Mutually beneficial relationships. Relationships are not one-sided. If it's one-sided, that's not a relationship at all. But guys, I will talk to you soon. I love you. Bye-bye.